Hi there, I'm the Reverend Danny Crosby, a Unitarian minister serving congregations in Altrincham and in Urmston in the northwest of England. And I offer this devotion as a balm for the heart, for the mind, for the spirit, and for the soul. And it's titled Emptiness and Fullness, Living by Heart, Mind, and Soul. You may remember that in the last video, based on my last services that I conducted, I offered a simple suggestion for all. Well, there has been some lovely responses, and that's just the responses that I know about in the last few days. I asked us to explore our lives, to think of a few of our favourite things, to let those things fill our hearts, and then respond in love in some small and, if we were like, some big ways in our world. To share a little thing with someone or some aspect of our world, and to bring what we share, bring that love to life. I'm not naive. I know it won't change the world, but it will do something, and it might just change the world for someone. Well, I have bore witness to some wonderful responses since. Looking at the world in which we live, it's so easy to see what is wrong. There is much. Our minds, our hearts, our souls can be bombarded with the darkness. And there is much darkness, let's not pretend. It's so easy for our hearts and our minds to be filled with fear and anxiety about it all, to be paralysed, to be overwhelmed by these feelings. But it's important to remember that this is not all that there is. And as I actually go about my daily life, this is not what I experience. In fact, I rarely experience it, only by the anxiety expressed. I bear witness to loving generosity everywhere and every day. Most of my interactions in the world are these. I've experienced so much of it this week. People just genuinely giving, many giving to me actually, from their hearts. Last Sunday I received so much that filled my heart. After the service in Altrincham, Will Pitcher gave me some wonderful gifts on behalf of his family for helping them through the loss of both of their parents, Hugh and Pat. It was this lovely book, the complete Winnie the Pooh collection, and this beautiful, beautiful music box that played You Are My Sunshine, My Only Sunshine. My only sunshine, you make me happy when skies are grey. Inside it read, there is something you must always remember. You are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are grey. The version in the music box was a bit high for me to sing along to that. I have to lower it down a third for my baritone voice. But the family, it just such as a beautiful gift, just a simple thank you for just doing what I'm here to do, really. But no, it's not what you do; it's the way that it's not what you do; it's the way that you do it, isn't it? Because that's what gets results. The family noticed actually that I have a Winnie the Pooh diary. I get a Winnie the Pooh diary from W.H. Smith's every single year, slightly different one each year. And so they obviously noticed I had an affection and affiliation with good old Winnie the Pooh. Who on earth doesn't, by the way? We all love a little bit of Pooh Bear, don't we? Well, the reason they noticed I like Winnie the Pooh and was into Winnie the Pooh is because of an empty-headed moment of mine, actually. Because I get one every year. This time, just before I went to see the family, I was rushing around because I was so busy. I picked up the wrong diary, and I only noticed it at the end of the visit as I was about to book the next visit when I would be available. And it brought much mirth and human connection, and it was obviously something that they held in their hearts, and thus they responded in love from their hearts, and they wanted to pour out that love in gratitude. They are a credit to their mum and dad, Pat and Hugh Pitcher. They truly are. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, Will, Nick and Claire, and all your children too. Beautiful gifts. Well, it continued. That evening I met up with friends, as I always do at my usual gathering meeting, recovery meeting. As we were leaving, one of them said he wanted a word with me, and I thought, oh, what's this about? So I just took Molly home and then met him at his car outside. We spoke for a short while, and then he presented me with a gift, a box with something in it. It was a thank you, he told me, for something I'd done many, many years ago that had led to the life he had now. He said it saved his life. And what was inside the box was this incredible, beautiful, crafted glass cup. Can you see that? Can you see what it is, though? If I hold it like that, you might be able to see what it's meant to be. It's in the shape of a pile of books, a pile of big books, or the AA textbook, Alcoholics Anonymous. It's the big book, piles of them. And it's of deep significance, obviously, to him and to myself and millions of others now, I guess. So it's beautifully handcrafted, made from glass, so I don't know how it was made. Meant so much to him and so much to me. It's absolutely phenomenal, beautiful. He wanted to give it to me on my next sobriety birthday, but felt so moved in the last week because of one or two things that we'd done together that week. He felt the need to give it. And maybe he'd watched my video from last week. Maybe he was responding in love. He didn't say. Maybe, who knows, eh? Either way, beautiful. But actually, as he presented it to me in the box. So I didn't know what was in the box at the time. So I returned home on that beautiful summer's evening and I unpacked the box, unpacked the gift. I didn't know what it was going to be at that moment in time, but I picked up a knife from the drawer. But as I did, I put down my keys on the side of in the kitchen sideboard. My mind was just focused on this lovely gift. I don't know why I put the keys down. They must have been in my hand, I guess. I took out a knife, I opened up the box, and I was just blown away. I was moved by this beautiful gift that was inside. This wonderful gift. I thought, it's a lovely summer's evening. I want to go outside, take a picture, as I'd done with the poo and the music box, and share it with my friends. So that's what I did. I went outside, took the picture on the benches out here, and then returned back to my house. Now, often when I go outside, I leave the door open. I don't know why, it's just a habit. But I didn't want to let Molly out, I think, at the time. But I got back to the house, I'd shut the door, and of course, I'd lock myself out. Now, thankfully, I was able to call on an angel who could let me back into the chapel, but they were at a concert in Stockport. So it meant basically I had to sit outside in the lovely summer's evening for a couple of hours. As I did, I took a video of this and shared about it with people, and also shared about my empty-headedness, my clumsy oafishness, as my gormlessness, basically, how gormless I've been to lock myself out. And as it also happened, another friend who'd been chatting outside, I told him what happened. He actually stuck around for an hour or so, and we talked and had a beautiful conversation, actually. My heart was just bursting, absolutely overflowing with love and the generosity and the gorgeousness, and also my clumsy gormlessness. It was just beautiful. I just felt so filled with love, overflowing with the generosity of others, and people wanting to share their love. They're truly acts of gratitude. Not talking about being thankful, but people being grateful, living from their hearts. Well, I awoke on Monday morning. Eventually I got in, of course, and my friend let me in. And I awoke on Monday morning, and Monday was such a beautiful morning. And I was so moved by how I felt in the morning that I wanted to share a gift with all of my friends. And so I got out my phone and I opened up WhatsApp and I sang into WhatsApp. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way today. Oh, everything's going my way. And I added a little extra to it. I said, even if it's not all going my way, it still feels like a beautiful morning, a beautiful day. And the truth is, not everything is going my way or anybody, but there is love in my heart, and my heart is filled with this love. Perhaps it's a bit too full at the moment, I don't know. Because I've noticed that the fuller my heart, the emptier is my head. And there are pluses and minuses to this. Because if your head is too empty, then you can all too easily find yourself locked out of your own house. And that can be an inconvenience not only to you, but to others. So my heart was full, but my gorm was not so full. I was a little gormless, not gorm full, shall we say. But I shared my little message with the world and again got some lovely responses. Mostly. I'm sure it irritated one or two, but maybe they didn't wake up with that same spirit that day. Maybe one day they will. I'd enjoyed a good week off, and it had done me the world of good because the last 12 months have been a bit too full. They've been a near perfect example of the blessings and curses that come with choosing life, to paraphrase good old Moses. There has been professional fulfilment too, as I become increasingly involved in helping to shape and develop future ministry. And there's been personal as well as professional challenges. It's been hard in the congregations at times, actually. And there's been so much grief. It's felt too much, the grief at times. My mind has felt filled to bursting at times, and it's left my heart a bit empty at times. I felt empty inside. It's a strange feeling to be filled to the brim with life, and yet at the same time feel almost empty of myself, but not in a good way. A strange paradox, perhaps. And I know I'm not alone. You see, we need to find stillness and not to be too full in order to fully function, to feel alive in our own lives. Sometimes we can be too filled with things, responsibilities and fear that can block us from the love in life. And I felt that at times these last 12 months. And this being overly filled, this reminds me of a story of a university professor who visited a Japanese master to inquire to the master about Zen. The professor began to ask questions while the master just sat quietly, listening. After a while, the master began to pour tea into the professor's cup. And the cup, it soon filled up, but the master did not stop pouring. The tea soon began to spill over onto the table. Initially, the professor just sat there in stunned silence. He did not know what to do. Eventually, though, he could take no more. He could take no more and shouted, "It's over, Phil. No more will go in." So I'll just take a sip before it all pours out. And the master stopped pouring and simply said, "Like this cup, you are full of your own opinions and your own speculations. How can I show you Zen unless you first empty your cup?" So it would appear that an overflowing cup is not a great thing. Whether it's filled with things, ideas and too much information, or it's filled with fear and anxiety about the world. And it's true to have our cups overfull when we're talking about our minds or our responsibilities or our fears and our anxieties is not a good thing. That said, though, the last few days have reminded me of another image of an overflowing cup. And it's the kind of image that is so beautiful and vital. And this image comes from the the 23rd Psalm. You will know it, I'm sure. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou prepares a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. The Psalms are attributed to King David, whether they were written by him or not. That's down to scholars to speculate. But it is said that they were the Psalms of David, songs to God. And here he sings of God as a shepherd who will see him safely through the valley of the shadow of death. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. So in the psalm, the overflowing cup is an excess of goodness. It's a symbol of abundance. It's a source of joy. It's something you can't have too much of. Can we ever be too full of love? Well, that's why we need to pour it out. Perhaps we can, because we're meant to pour that love out on others, and thus the love continues to grow. So it reminds me of the gifts I was given of good old Pooh Bear and the cup of this cup of love and this cup of knowledge. The cup that will no doubt be filled and poured out and drank from many times. A cup I will drink from, as will many others. They will drink from it too, as my friend did. And he just wanted to pour out some of his, as I've seen him pour out his love on so many. So here we have two cups of contrasting meaning, two cups overflowing perhaps. One depicting a mind that is too full and therefore unable to focus or learn something new, or too full that it paralyzes us with so much fear. And the other cup, depicting a cup overflowing with love that will enable us to live full, loving lives, despite the very real troubles present in our lives and the lives of others. But still we can pour out our love. So is there a contradiction here? Is this a dilemma, this contrasting, overflowing cups? Well, it's only a dilemma if we get lost in the metaphor, which of course is the curse of the literalist. These are images, they're not literally about a cup that's overflowing. They're teaching something, aren't they? Beyond the meta, they're pointing to something. And of course, I believe that these two images are depicting aspects of our humanity, different aspects of our humanity, one that needs emptiness and one that needs fullness perhaps. The Zen story is depicting the mind, whereas the psalm is depicting the heart. It's talking of God's infinite love. So yes, we can be full, abundantly full with love, and yet still have a mind that's clear. And experience has revealed to me that it's the full heart that enables me to clear my mind, and not the clear head that fills my heart. By emptying my mind, I do not fill my heart, and yet, as my mind becomes full, as my heart becomes full, my mind and my soul settles down, clears up. Anyway, that's what experience has taught me. It's that way around, not the other. As I look back at my life, proved once again in the last recent times, I can see clearly that it's when my heart is filled with love that my mind begins to clear. There have been times when my head has been so full that there was just no more room for anything else. Times when my life was just too full and I couldn't create space, when prayer and meditation was not even enough. Now my head, when it's full, doesn't spin like it once did. Thank God I can still my mind. Thank God I can feel again. Even when I feel empty and detached from life, I don't have that racing brain. That's never returned. I can tell you the moment it's settled, and it never been settled before. That's wrong thinking, but not the rate. I haven't suffered with that for years. Wrong thinking I can quite often suffer from, but not the crazy racing, overfilled mind. Not the racing kind. It can be overfilled, but not racing. I haven't suffered from that for 20 years. And yet I suffered with it every day till my heart got filled. But I did need last week. I did need to settle. I did need to empty. I needed to stop. I needed to let my soul catch up with my body. I needed to let my heart be filled. I needed to once again be touched by the joy of living. Because I was in danger of becoming detached emotionally and spiritually. And then there was last weekend, and the love I was offered and so gratefully received. You see, love is an interesting commodity. It's infinite. In fact, it multiplies by subtraction. The more love we give away, the more it's received, and it encourages others to do the same, and it grows and it grows and it grows. The more we pour out, the more we all receive. And I bore witness to that again this week in the people all around me. I saw a wonderful example of anonymous generosity this week. Someone responding in love, but ensuring I did not know what it was and who it was. I have no idea. Well, I can break it down to a few, but I don't know who it was. I can have my thoughts about that, but I'm not going to ask them. And I believe we can all live fully aware of the abundance that is open to us all in life, all of us. We can live as though our cups were overflowing with abundant love. We can give our love freely. We can truly throw caution to the wind and live with true gracious abandon. Might sound a bit awkward living like that, you might feel a bit self-conscious about it, but we can. We just need to encourage ourselves and encourage one another. We just need to encourage. And courage, of course, is all about heart. Putting that heart, filling that heart, overflowing hearts, pouring it out onto one another. That's how we encourage one another. I've been encouraged all week. And I don't think I'm the only dreamer. I'm sure even the most cynical of us have felt it at least once in our lives, a few times in our lives. Hold on to remember those moments. I'm sure we must have all at some point felt filled up with the abundance of life, if only for a brief moment. So the key is when we are to trigger that in others. It can begin with just a simple smile or gesture or a little music box, or just responding with spontaneity. I've talked many times about my belief in the chaos theory of compassion, the source of which is this abundant love that can be poured out from us all. I've seen proof of this once again in the last few days of my life. And the wonderful thing about this abundance is that unlike any other resource, it is not finite, it is truly infinite. The more we express it, the more we give it away, the more our cups are filled. And the key, of course, is to share it extravagantly, to pour it out on one another extravagantly. But, and I need to learn this, there are times when you can overdo it too. I know I can exhaust myself. So there is a need for some balance in life. For if your mind gets too full of things, then you lose all sense of clarity and all sense of connection. You'll find you forget things. You might lock yourself out of the house. You become gormless instead of gormful. You lose your gorm. So you do need to have a clear mind. A cup that's not too overly full in order to be connected to what life is offering to us. But to do this truly, you do need an open heart. Because you need an open heart to allow the abundant love to fill you and to flow from you, to pour it out on a world that really needs it. Because we're all born to love. And there are folk that live without much love. They need our love. They need us to pour our love on them, to cherish them with our cherished love. So, sing and rejoice and abandon yourself to love. Anoint one another regardless of the troubles that may come our way. Will it take all those troubles away? No, of course it won't. But it will bring love to life in our humble human being. And isn't this the greatest gift of all? All you need is love, they say. Amen. So I'm going to end, as I always end, with some words of blessing. We can all bless. And we bless when we give ourselves wholeheartedly to life, pour out our love abundantly. So may the Spirit of love open our eyes. May it shine light even upon the darkest of days. May we recognize the sacredness of one another and the sacredness of all life in all time and in all spaces. May we experience the holy ground at our feet. Shake off our shoes, feel the earth. Know that all earth is holy ground. We walk the holy ground of earth, that everything is sacred. May we bring this sacred vision to life in and through us, and may we do so in all that we feel, in all that we think, in all that we say, in all that we do. Amen.